Today we're going to talk about social eaters. Social eaters are people for whom eating is an expression of love and friendship. And most eating events take place with family, co-workers, friends, and it's super, super important to social eaters that they have people around and that food is used as part of that overall experience. One of the difficult parts about that, though, is that social eaters are often highly influenced by what those other people want to eat. So you would tend to eat everything that group of people that you're with. So if your family is eating unhealthy food, then you're likely to eat unhealthy food also, same with friends, co-workers, etc. You don't want to offend anybody by refusing food, and you certainly don't want to present food to your family and friends that you don't think they're going to like. In overcoming that challenge, the first thing that you have to do is give yourself permission to take care of yourself. Okay, it's very important you can be healthy and have the love and friendship that you desire. So to do that, there's a couple techniques that we want to talk about. First of all, for most people, you only eat one meal a day with other people, like your family or friends and so forth. So, and that meal is usually dinner. So we'll just put dinner aside for a moment and talk about breakfast, lunch, and snack. One thing about social eaters is that usually this group of people is the most informed about what nutritious foods are. You probably don't need me to tell you what kinds of foods you need to be eating. So knowing that, your challenge is to take a look at what you are eating for breakfast and make sure that you've got nutritious foods for yourself on hand. So you want to have some nutritious cereals at home, whole grain breads, and perhaps some egg white patties or maybe some substitute sausage patties, things like that you can use to make yourself a nutritious breakfast. Make sure you're buying yourself plenty of fruits and vegetables that you can eat on the go. Same thing for lunch. Wherever you are for lunch, make sure that you've packed yourself a lunch that you're going to enjoy and that has all the nutrition that you need. You may also want to just get a baggie, fill it up with fruits and vegetables and have that with you so that you have it on the go. What you want to do is you want to make sure that by the time you get to that dinner experience, typically with your family, that you're reasonably full and that you're not arriving at that experience where you're starving and needing to fill up on all the food that's really not so good for you. So breakfast, lunch, and then a nice snack sometime around 4 o'clock or so that you're not starving by dinner time. So when it comes to dinner time and feeding your family, one of the things that you need to do is really take a hard look at what are some of the family favorites. And what we want to do is try to get recipes, you can get recipes from the cookbook, and if not, to search for other recipes that you know will be nutritious for your family and replace some of the family favorites or add to some of the family favorites. So for example, if your family really loves lasagna, then try the lasagna that we have in the cookbook. If that one doesn't work, you may want to make some alterations to it to try to make it in a way that you know that your family is going to love. Same thing with meatloaf and chicken dinners and so forth. Try those recipes on your family. If you can discover 5 new recipes that they like, then you work that into the overall family repertoire of dinners, and that cuts out a few of the less healthy things that you need to do. Sometimes you are faced with that challenge, though, that your family's got some kind of unhealthy things that they really love, macaroni and cheese or what have you, that you really can't alter or change or get away from. So one strategy in that situation is to go ahead and have some of that, decrease your portion of it. So again, with the macaroni and cheese example, maybe you want to have just a couple of spoonfuls of that, and then the rest of the dinner, make sure that you've got some nutritious options there. So lots of vegetables, whether they're baked or steamed or just raw veggies, a salad, that kind of thing. So you can have half of your plate that is vegetables and you've got your portion of meat or fish there, and then a smaller portion of that thing that may be a little bit less healthy, but that you can still indulge in with the family. So it's just about changing your portions or proportions at the family meal so that you're not getting quite as much of the unhealthy stuff and a little bit more of the healthy. Another challenge for you may be at family events like birthdays, celebrations, or going out for dinner, where the group has different kinds of foods that are there that may not be exactly what you want. For example, in a Mexican restaurant, it's pretty common when you sit down that there's going to be some chips and maybe some queso. That's not very healthy for you, but it may be what everybody else is eating. If you can, order also for the table some corn tortilla chips, that's a whole grain, and some salsa, and you can get red, green, really any kind of salsa, and that's the kind of appetizer that you can have so that you can participate, and no doubt somebody else will be picking that up and eating that as well. So search for those ways in restaurants that you can bring some whole grains, some vegetables and things like that to the table for people to share, as well as unhealthy options that may also being brought to the table. You also want to do that when you go to family celebrations, dinners, parties, that kind of thing, is search through all the recipes and find appetizers or side dishes and those kinds of things that you can bring that you know will be huge crowd pleasers. People will love them, they look beautiful, and it will help you because it gives you something that you can indulge in as well, and maybe have a little bit less of the other things that are not quite as healthy for you. So just to recap, your challenge here is to find recipes that you know that people around you will love. Search for things that are very tasty, very beautiful, kind of showstopper type things that are very nutritious for you. Bring those, work those into your family repertoire. And then meantime, make sure that your other meals of the day, your breakfast, lunch, and snack, are very nutritious so that you don't arrive at those other kinds of events, the more social events, being too hungry.